Ep92, welcome back to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring DoW2 Retribution. Red-Rupee here with you, calling the shots as always, and we are once again on the refinery situated along the edges of the canyons and dunes of Calderis. This is actually the third time in a row we've played this map. Normally I switch up the scenery a bit more, but the submissions have been good and they've been coming from Calderis, so that's where we're at. But we are switching it up a little bit because we've got a quick but effervescent 2-on-2 game today. We are on the elite mod once again because you guys have just been eating that up. Let's take a look at the players. We've got Turbine Cyris as the Chaos Lord starting out the blue team, and then the very similar brother Captain with a nice teal paint scheme here from Freeman1991. Then on the red team we've got Clobby as the Force Commander for the Space Marine Army, and then his ally Myme as the War Boss for the Orc Forces. So let's go ahead, get this game rolling here. I actually recognize most of these player names. I think they're actually all subscribers, and most of these guys actually I remember putting their names in the hat for the holiday DLC drawing last year. So that's kind of fun to see. Anyways, let's take a look. It's important to note, I think, that both the blue team heroes, the Chaos Lord and the Brother Captain, are going to be immune to suppression, and 3 out of the 4 heroes actually have the crush on them. Both the blue team heroes and the War Boss going to be stomping through all the cover. Probably not going to be much cover left on this map by the end of it. And the Force Commander, though a bit smaller, certainly hits no less hard. Everyone knows the Force Commander. I don't have to talk about him. He's a nasty, nasty fellow. So, build orders starting off looking pretty standard all around. We've got Chaos Space Marines and Tax, double shooters, and a strike squad. Looks like Cyris is choosing to head over to this natural VP of the Reds and start pushing that. You kind of have to balance it out on this map because both your natural VP and 2 natural powers are all on the same side. But if you push on either side with both of your armies, you're going to leave your opposing power wide open to attack. So you have to balance that out in these early pushes, or risk losing a lot of unnecessary wreck and power income early on if you're not defensive enough. So anyway, some pretty standard back and forth here. Force Commander got pretty beat up by the Chaos Lord and his Chaos Space Marines. I feel like you never want to stand behind. This thing looks like green cover, but the other 2, the pipes on either side are all green cover. This is yellow. Even these pipes up here are green cover, so that's not a place you want to stand by on either VP. In the meantime, Brother Captain charging all over the place. Got the shooters pretty well split up. Myme's trying to kite around. It sounds like his War Boss, is back here harassing the strike squad and those inquisitorial stormtroopers. Neither player's really lost much, both kind of kiting around trying to keep those big heroes off the main attack force, but unfortunately for the red team, Cyris has come in to aid and is going to be able to pick off a couple of those shooters on retreat, it looks like. So blue team doing a good job pushing red around pretty early on here. Force Commander looks like he's already used his battle cry. You can see the buff circles on those Space Marine units there, but he's not going to be able to stick around very long into the fight for himself. Kind of a bit overzealous, running into both armies there. Quite a bit of ranged firepower, along with those 2 beefy heroes just stomping around, swinging their oversized swords at anything that comes too close. So Assault Marines coming right onto the field for Clobby. No second scout or anything like that, just going for the big mean units. Not necessarily a bad idea, but if he's going to have all that extra wreck, he needs to be dropping power. There he goes, right as I mentioned it. Fills up that power farm. Blue team has 2 full farms. Red team just has the 1 right now, so they need to defend this push and then drop those generators. Don't want to drop them now, as you'll probably just lose them. Never hurts to be a little cautious with your power if you think it's in peril. Don't drop those extra gens, because it's just going to cost you wreck. So we've got double CSM in that lone strike squad. Freeman bringing a Rhino onto the field right now, which is an interesting choice. Normally you see an extra infantry squad. The Rhino's kind of a curious support vehicle in Tier 1 for the Grey Knights. It comes out with super heavy infantry armor, but it is unarmed, has no weaponry on it at all. As the red team throws out the blues with a little panache right there, jumps in with the assault squad. Force Commander hits his bubble and charges on in. Doesn't even take any damage. That shield is still full. Assault's going in once again to finally scare off that last Stormtrooper squad, and the blue team's heading into Tier 2 pretty quickly. Cyris spent, I think, no power at all right here in the opening engagement, so with that double power farm getting thrown right up and not taking any damage here, It was pretty easy for him to just shoot way ahead into Tier 2. Gonna be hitting that way before any of the other armies right now. Everyone else is pretty far behind. His ally Freeman isn't even gonna be hitting that anytime soon. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a quick Blood Crusher, something like that, come from Cyris. That's normally what you see the fast tech and chaos players do. And as the red team, I mean, you gotta notice that if your opponent hasn't spent any power at all, you gotta be ready for that quick tech. Red team has filled up their gen farm. Still harassing away. This Force Commander and Assault Space Marines actually, I think, gonna be pretty difficult for Cyris to deal with right now. He's just not going to be able to damage and force off that Force Commander within the speed that he needs to with that double CSN build. Everything's fallen back. Nothing's too terribly damaged. Good play here so far by Clobby, really putting on that early pressure with the Force Commander. Meanwhile, his scouts are a little idle. He needs to make sure he has those running around capping, and just as I mentioned that, he noticed too. Pulls them out and sends them to capture some power. Force Commander still very healthy. Lost his shield, but still very high on health. Picking off a couple heretics now, and perhaps Cyris realizes there's not too much he's going to be able to do about that. That's the problem with going Tier 2 early, is that you're not going to have much on Tier 1. This Rhino getting very beat up here. It's struggling to get away from these orcs, but it looks like it's going to. Oh no, but I spoke too soon. A couple last swings by those sluggers finishes it off. An unfortunate early loss for Freeman. Got to be careful with that Rhino. It only has that heavy armor. It does not have vehicle armor at all. And that's going to leave this blue side power farm exposed. Both of them exposed to 2 squads of big shooters. Freeman's going to have to get back out there nice and quick to deal with that. Cyris, however, already with a Dreadnought coming onto the field. Everyone else heading into Tier 2, slightly split up there. Cyris, in the meantime, got Aspiring Champion on his Heretics, which will allow him to deal with those Assault Space Marines a good deal easier. This Force Commander facing off against the Chaos Lord right now. Gonna get a little health off of that Kill the Weak, but obviously not gonna do anything other than fall back right there. In the meantime, we can see Warboss upgraded with the Angry Bits, facing off against the Brother Captain, who has his Nemesis Force Sword right there. And I'm gonna look at that because, oh, that's the one that actually improves his battle cry abilities, similar to the Force Commander's Power Sword. However, he does go down. Stormboy's jumping in, forcing off all of the remaining Grey Knight forces, and it looks like Myme's in a perfect position to finish off the power farm on the blue team right there. Cyris recognizes the threat, is moving his forces to engage this Orc army over here, but it's going to be a bit late. These Stormboys might be able to get the cap in. No, maybe not, because we can see some Khorne Chaos Space Marines on the field already. Cyris with 1 squad upgraded to Khorne, the other is still unmarked. Stormboys have to fall back, but it cost them a couple models. In the meantime, the primary power farm of the blue team was completely obliterated. It's going to give Clobby some time to get back out on the map, and the Blues really need to do something here. They went for that quick Tier 2, but it might be costing them the game, as they're already down by about 250 VPs. These Dreadnoughts are really going to have to do some work to keep them into the game. They're out on the field, but they're not quite out there, I feel like, quick enough that it made a difference. I think Cyris would have been better off to get that Blood Crusher out as soon as he could, because we can see the Warboss already upgraded with his Claw. Unfortunately, that's the only AV on the field, and he's being a bit overzealous. When you get that Claw and you don't have any other AV, you need to keep that Warboss back until he can get in the position to start intimidating that Dreadnought and at least forcing it back, because now it's out here unopposed. Brother Captain's probably going to go down, but it doesn't matter because his ally's right there to lift him up. 184 to 483 and twin Dreadnoughts on the field for the blue team. Reds actually finally put up their 3rd gen farm, so they've been getting some serious power income here over the past few minutes. They're pretty much caught up in tech. You can see they're sitting on quite a bit of power over here. They're going to lose that farm, but it's not going to matter all that much because they already obliterated one of the farms of the blue team, and now they're still sitting at equal income. Stormboy's jumping in, but against the entirety of everything here, even with that buff, they're still going to take tons of damage. A nice Bomber Boys right there. The Stormboy getting splatted, and oh no, is that... Oh, Melta turns the last Stormboy into bits. Orky bits. Always unpleasant for the Orcs. And blue team getting a big win, taking out those Storm Boys there. That might help them stay in this game here. You can see Dreadnoughts from everyone. Myme the only one without a walker right now, but there's a Melt-A-Bomb going down, and that Melt-A-Dread is going to be doing some serious damage to that Grey Knight Dreadnought. It needs to get out of there. They don't want to lose that right now. They finally were getting some momentum back on the field, but it might be going down here. Warboss is moving in to engage. Lots of melee happening in the center as that Dreadnought tries to escape. Got a Purgation squad on the field with their side cannons, however, which is the infamous range squad from the Grey Knights that does so much terrible damage at any range to all targets. Dreadnought falls to the Warboss and Force Commander. However, those Purgation members are engaged by both melee heroes right now. Chaos Lord just barely makes it out of there against all that range fire. Double shooters and stern guards on the field right now, doing some crazy, crazy range damage. And in the meantime, the red team's going to be in position to knock out that second gen farm. 100 points for the blue team. Not looking good at all. This could be a quick game as far as that goes. Warboss and Force Commander haranguing these Purgation squads, which can't even retreat with all that in their path right now, but trying to pull into Cyris's base. Force Commander got a little too cocky there. Charged a bit too far forward. Got taken out by the Dreadnought of Cyris, which is currently getting upgraded with the Mark of Sinch. A nice Firestorm right on top of all of those shooter boys. Managed to get 5 or 6 models there. Not bad at all. Strike Squad upgraded with their Justicar, getting knocked over by those Angry Bits, however, and now in a bad spot. Warboss is going to probably take out at least one of them. Oh no, that may have even been the Justicar. No, I think that's him here with the Power Sword. Warboss taking lots of fire, but going to be able to engage this Purgation squad without too much issue. Corn Marines moving in as the Warboss falls back. Nice use of Worship to get those guys out of too much danger, pulled them away from all the range fire, and now allowed them to engage with the Heretics. These Slugger Boys with User Choppas, very powerful, but not going to be able to take on 2 melee squads on their own, as well as taking range fire from that Siege Dreadnought. Assault Marines once again outclassed in melee. These squads are kind of going in one at a time and getting ganged up on. Melt-A-Dread versus Siege Dread. That's actually a pretty good fight. I'm not sure who would win that, but that Melt is pretty beat up. I think Cyris should have pursued the kill on that. He may have been able to take it out, especially with the Brother Captain here to support it. After seeing that first Dreadnought go down, Cyris perhaps a little hesitant to send it in on its own. Needs a nice volley here. Needs that frenzied volley to suppress and lock down all these shooter boys. Does some nice AoE damage, of course, as well. Purgation squad actually doing a pretty solid number on this Dreadnought, who's just trying desperately to kite away. It looks like Cyris recognizes the peril that this Space Marine Dreadnought's in, and he's moving in for the kill. Those missiles are flying in. If those Purgation squads get a few more shots off, down it goes! And another good win for the blue team. Triple cap against the red now, 439 to 61. Red team's got plenty of time to bring this back, however, though. Warboss causing some terrible damage, charging in with the Angry Bits, swinging with that Power Claw, taking out one of those lone Purgation members. Siege Dread just kind of firing into the terrain there, trying to get some hits on that Warboss. Purgation turns to open fire, and Clobby now not much on the field, but what he does have on the field is nasty. He's got Vanguards, he's got Stern Guards, and he's got the Force Commander. So losing that Dreadnought was kind of a big hit to both the Space Marine and the Grey Knights. So both sides kind of losing a big investment there. Myme's sitting with just his shooters and his sluggers right now. Has plenty of resources to bring something else on the field here shortly, so we'll have to see what he decides to go for. The Siege Dreadnought will be a great vehicle deterrent for the remainder of the game, but right now it's not going to be as useless, or as useful rather, as he'd like it to be. Havoc's on the field, which is an interesting choice from Cyris. I guess trying to kind of control some of that melee and range on the field. Assault Marines jump in. Those Vanguards going to do heavy, heavy damage with those Power Swords and that big old hammer right there. One lone Havoc escapes, and now these Vanguards are going to have to deal with both the Chaos Lord with his claws and those Khorne Space Marines. I haven't been seeing Khorne Space Marines as much recently. Oh my goodness, the whole Vanguard squad goes down. Oh, that's an extremely expensive loss, especially considering he just bought them and they didn't get to do much. But man, we're seeing these Corn Marines really do damage this game. As I was saying, you don't see them as much because Raptors have kind of filled that gap a little bit. But these Corn Marines still do heavy damage. Got that Melt-A-Pistol, quick, mean, along with Corn Worship. They're just nasty, nasty units. Chaos Lord with his Icon of Corn and Lightning Claw is going to give him some regen with each hit. And the attack speed on those Lightning Claws is so quick that it really makes a difference with that particular war gear. Clobby and Freeman both sitting with kind of smallish armies. Myme bringing some knobs onto the field. 61 to 345. Blue team's trying to bring it back. And they might just do it. Clobby floating a huge amount of resource. I'm not sure if he's saving up, I guess, for Terminators or a Land Raider at this point. But he needs to bring something out here and push Cyris back. The red team has a solid lead, but it's going to disappear nice and quick if they allow these double and triple caps to keep taking place. Here come the Assault Terminators. That's going to be a nice force, along with those Stern Guards. If only it kept those Vanguard veterans on the field, really that combination of Assault Terminators and Vanguards would have been devastating, I feel like, to the Chaos Space Marine. I'm not sure Lightning Claws are the best choice right here. He needs something to deal with this Dreadnought. It doesn't do amazing anti-vehicle or anti-infantry damage, but those bolters and missiles really add up after a while. And if it's just constantly firing away there, along with that frenzied volley, it's nothing to scoff at. So man, look, we've got Marcus Siege Marines on the field, obliterating Stern Guards. One of them already fell, and you can see how low the rest of the squad is. In the meantime, Orcs moving into the center of the map. Knobs hitting the meaner and greener frenzy. They're not even in the arc anyways, but you don't want to risk it. This Havoc squad might be going down here. Yeah, no problem for Knobs. Havoc squad gets obliterated. Frenzy Barrage goes down, suppresses the majority of the Orc army. Does a little splash damage and suppresses the Strike squad as well, which was in a bad position. Knobs getting both of the Warboss Globals. Gonna be nasty, nasty. Doing heavy, heavy damage right now to the Brother Captain as the Corn Marines get pushed back by the Slugga squad right there. Warboss fully kitted out with his heavy armor, Angry Bits, and Claw. 61 to 266. Siege Dreadnought trying to get away from the Warboss Termies and Sluggas. Finally getting some support here in the form of Chaos Lord, Heretics, and Siege Marines. Now with the help of that Corn Worship, that Dreadnought's not going to be in too bad of a position. Drain Life being used on that Warboss did quite a bit of damage and forced them back a little bit as the Brother Captain fell to the Knob squad. Knobs attacking this generator farm over here, keeping their Hammer's Rage spun up right there, seeing all those angry circles around them. As the Warboss charges along, trying to get in position. It looks like he just kind of stopped there, unfortunately, and decides to fall back. 43 to 265 with a double cap against them. Blue team needs to get out there desperately. Chaos Lord choosing instead to engage this Force Commander, who now has his Power Fist. Really going to be a major threat to that Dreadnought. It looks like those Stern Guards need to focus down those Inquisitorial Stormtroopers. They're getting the decap over there. If they would have just stopped that decap, that might have been the game. But a slight oversight there. Gonna be dragging this out at least for a little bit longer right now. 2 Dreadnoughts on the field now. I'm sure this, I'd be willing to bet the second Chaos Dreadnought's gonna be getting the Mark of Corn, getting its second claw there, and doing some heavy damage to these Terminators, who are now way out of position without any support. And man, that's kind of the one thing you can't do with Terminators, is just leave them out there by themselves. One lone Terminator left. It doesn't look like he's going to get out. I don't know if he's used his teleport already. It doesn't look like it. And down he falls. Huge loss there for Clobby. Myme's trying to keep this game on the field, but looks like that might be it. There's certainly plenty of Orc force on the field right now. This Predator is going to have to be very careful with that Siege Dread out there. There's also a Corn Dreadnought and a Shrine of Corn going up as well. So blue team's just going to try to lock this down over here. The Grey Knights don't have too much in the way of knockdown to kind of keep these knobs as under control as they'd like. Cyris needs to get over there and pick up that Brother Captain while he's got the chance. He's about to lose a Dreadnought or two if he's not careful. Warboss heads out, and it looks like we've got a call-in right here. Oh, I know what that is. Look at that Thunderhawk. Oh, that is such a pretty model. There it goes, flying away, dropping off a Land Raider. Siege missiles finish off that looted tank Land Raider on the field right now. Clobby getting a Predator out of his own, but without the help of that looted tank, it may not be enough. Blue team may have been able to turn this around right here, taking out those Terminators and that looted tank in this last engagement. 188 to 17. Blue team really can't budge an inch, though, on this center point. Of course, with the Land Raider, that's going to make it much easier. And Clobby been just a bit too careless with his more expensive squads. Lost his Vanguards, lost his Terminators. That's probably enough on its own to lose the game, as they are so expensive. Chaos Havoc's coming back onto the field. Cyris really wants to try to lock down this center point, and without Stern Guards and Terminators on the field, they may be able to do that. All he has to do is keep those knobs away. And a brief moment of quiet while the red team kind of gathers up his forces, rallies the orcs, and gathers the tech of the Space Marine to start moving onto the field right now. Look at this bright teal Land Raider on the field, almost matching the color of that BP right there. Another looted tank coming out to try to deal with this Land Raider. This Land Raider is a pretty heavy anti-infantry Land Raider. Nice frenzy volley right there. Everything getting suppressed along with the bolters on that Land Raider. It's going to keep everything suppressed. Those knobs need a frenzy right now if they don't want to lose any more squads. They're trying to save it, but everything's coming to a head right now. Laspred trying to take some shots at the Land Raider. There's so many big vehicles on the field right now. I'm not sure the red team has what they need to deal with it. Knob Squad, I think, just went down right there. Warboss in the middle of everything, causing trouble, but he's going to have to fall back. That might be the game with those knobs going down. I don't like calling it early, but I think that may be it. Predator's just not able to do enough damage. If that Siege Marine goes down, these two tanks are going to have a much easier time of moving in on that Land Raider. However, there's a Khorne Dreadnought and Purgation Squad. Oh no, down goes the looted tank. Myme may have just given up right there. That Siege might finally go down here. Predator's going to go for the kill anyways, but it falls just before getting the final last shot. Oh, very unfortunate. Red team just doesn't have anything that can hold, and it looks like Myme has thrown in the towel. Finally retreats, but it's going to be a bit late. 14 to 140, but I don't see the red team coming back from this. They've got two squads each. There's the GG from Myme, and that's going to be the game. So blue team really, wow, taking it down to the wire there with 9 VPs left. Myme was hoping to get the cap. With 9 VPs, that would have left the blue team with 1 VP, even if they had immediately kept it back. And it might have been worth continuing the fight and trying to get that last tick down. But unfortunately, it was just overwhelming odds at this point. Cyris still with a full army. Double Dreadnoughts and a Land Raider. Nothing easy to break as far as that kind of line goes. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the game. A bit of a crazy one there. Kind of mid-level 2-on-2 madness. Just tons of destruction. I like those kind of games. Anyways, feel free to comment, subscribe, talk about the players, the game, the strategies, the videos, the commentary. I always appreciate it. This is Red-Rupee. I'll catch you guys next time.